Welcome back to Fun Facts Online. In the world of aviation, change usually happens slowly, bit by bit. But every once in a while, something comes along that completely rewrites the rules. Today, we're talking about one of those game changers, the Boeing 787 Dreamliner. It wasn't just a new plane, it was a revolution built on a risky bet on brand new technology, a complete overhaul of how planes are made, and a total rethink of what it feels like to fly. The story starts with a canceled project. Boeing had been working on something called the Sonic Cruiser, a plane all about speed. But airlines were getting nervous about rising fuel costs. So Boeing pivoted. They scrapped the speed demon and came up with the 7E, the E standing for efficiency. The goal was insane. Build a plane that used 20% less fuel than the jet it was replacing, the 767. After a public vote, it was christened the Dreamliner, a name that promised a new future where you could fly directly between faraway cities, skipping the old hub-and-spoke nightmare. So how did they pull off this 20% efficiency miracle? The secret sauce was in the materials, forget aluminum. The Dreamliner's body is 50% composite materials, mostly carbon fiber. Think of it like a high-tech plastic reinforced with super strong fibers. This made the plane incredibly lightweight, but also very strong. It also changed how they built it. Instead of riveting thousands of aluminum sheets together, they could create huge, single-piece barrel sections of the fuselage. Fewer parts, less weight, faster assembly. It was a manufacturing revolution. Beyond the materials, the plane is just sleek. Those long, gracefully curved wings with the raked tips, they're not just for looks. They are designed to slice through the air, dramatically reducing drag. But the real genius is under the skin. The 787 has what's called a more electric architecture. In older planes, a lot of systems, like pressurizing the cabin, are powered by bleeding hot compressed air from the engines. This puts a lot of strain on them. The Dreamliner said no thanks to that. It uses electricity to power things like engine start, brakes, and cabin pressure. By getting rid of that bleed air system, they made the engines about 3% more fuel efficient on its own. That might not sound like much, but in the airline industry, it's a massive saving. But what does all this tech mean for you, the passenger? Boeing actually did a ton of research on how to make flying less miserable. First, the windows. They are the biggest on any commercial jet, so you can actually see the horizon. And instead of those cheap plastic shades, they have a dimming system. You press a button, and the window tints, like magic. Because the fuselage is made of that strong composite material, it can handle higher cabin pressure. This means the air inside feels like you're at an altitude of 6,000 feet, not the usual 8,000. They can also pump more humidity into the air. The result? You feel less dried out, less dizzy, and less jet-lagged after a long flight. It's a game changer for long-haul travel. Now, it wasn't all smooth flying. The Dreamliner's development was a complete roller coaster. The ambitious plan to have partners build huge sections of the plane all over the world turned into a logistical nightmare, causing years of delays. The first plane was delivered 3 years late, but the biggest crisis hit in 2013. A series of fires in the plane's advanced lithium-ion batteries. You know, the same kind of battery in your phone. It was so serious that authorities around the world grounded the entire Dreamliner fleet. It was the first time that it happened to a plane type since 1979. Investigators found a design flaw could lead to something called thermal runaway, basically an unstoppable, cascading fire. Boeing's fix was intense. They redesigned the battery system and encased it in a heavy-duty steel containment box strong enough to withstand an explosion and vent any fire or smoke safely outside the plane. The plane was allowed back in the air, but the story reminds us that pioneering new tech always comes with risks. Despite that turbulent start, has the Dreamliner lived up to its name? Absolutely. It has become the best-selling wide-body passenger jet of all time. Over 1 billion people have flown on one. And because of its incredible range and efficiency, it has allowed airlines to open over 425 new non-stop routes, connecting cities that never had a direct link before. The Dreamliner is a powerful lesson in innovation. It pushed the absolute limits of engineering, from its carbon fiber body to its all-electric systems. While its journey was packed with challenges and scary moments, it ultimately succeeded and reshaped what we expect from modern air travel. It truly was, and still is, a dream made real. That's all for this episode of G Fun Facts Online. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time with another deep dive into the amazing world of science and technology.